Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In here, Group 5 will present to you about motivation with job satisfaction, performance satisfaction, and motivation as an increase in performance and productivity. The members of Group 5 are Yuslia Irawati, Inadi Nurahya Hasanah, and Alifah Kanza Widayati. Motivation with job satisfaction. Job satisfaction is someone's expectation of his work. Is the hope for work fulfilled or not is a matter of being satisfied or not satisfied. Job satisfaction can increase one's work motivation. The problem depends on what he is satisfied with. In the previous theory, it is said that if satisfied in social needs and self-actualization, people will increasingly motivated to work. But if satisfied in the work environment factors, then it can only reduce the sense of dissatisfaction and not necessarily improve one's motivation at work. For example, someone has a satisfying salary at work. Of course, he feels satisfied, but not yet he is motivated to work in a way to be responsible. But if people are satisfied with their actualization needs, then motivated to work because actualization need is characteristics of people who have high motivation. Approach in work motivation. Theoretically, motivation is a process in a person who is influenced by factors, both physiological and psychological factors that drive behavior to achieve certain results or goals. In a system view, motivation consists of three basic components, which are mutually related and interact with each other, namely the component of the needs, drives, and the incentives. Need is something that causes an imbalance in a person, both physical and psychological. Drive is a sole force that moves a person to action and fulfill the needs he wants. Whereas incentive is the goal which has been achieved as a result of these actions. The level of needs, according to Maslow, seems to trigger other research, namely the emergence of the theory of two factors from Herzberg that concludes: first, satisfaction at work is always connected with the type of work or job content. The second, dissatisfaction at work is caused by the relationship of the work with environmental aspect associated with job or job content. Job context. Herzberg further explained factors that cause satisfaction at work, called motivational factors, while the factors that cause work dissatisfaction is called hygiene factor. These two factors are then known as two factors of motivation theory from Herzberg. Hygiene factors is a number of external conditions of work which, if those conditions don't do not exist cause dissatisfaction for workers. Therefore, these factors serve to prevent its dissatisfaction, but doesn't motivate to better achievement. These factors include salary, job security, condition of employment, status, company policies, quality of supervision, quality of personal relationship with supervisor and colleagues, and social security. Motivational factors is a number of work internal conditions which, if the conditions exist, will serve as a motivator that can produce better job performance. But if the condition doesn't exist, then will not cause dissatisfaction. This factor deals with achievement, recognition, work, responsibilities, advancement, and developments the maturity of the individual itself. Further expansion of Herzberg and Maslow emerged the theory of Alderfer, who classifying three groups of human needs, that is, existence needs, related needs, and growth needs. The need for existence is a need that keeps individuals can live, like clothes, food, and place. It's like primary needs, or according to Maslow, called biological necessity, and according to Herzberg, called hygiene factors. The related needs is a need to establish social relationship and cooperate with others. Or social needs according to Maslow and hygiene factors according to Herzberg. Growth needs regard to all forms related to intrinsic desires or growing one's potential. In Maslow's term, is called a need about self-actualization, or according to Herzberg, called motivational needs. One of the differences between Maslow, Herzberg, and Alderfer is that Alderfer disagrees with Maslow, who states that satisfaction of human needs based on hierarchy, which means the second needs cannot be met before satisfying the first need, and so on in stages. According to Alderfer, higher needs can be satisfied before satisfying the second needs.
And next is job motivation process theory, that is expectancy theory. First is valence is related to the level of strength of someone's desire for certain result. Second is instrumentally, it is between achievement and rewards or those achievement. And the third is expectancy. Expectancy is a belief that a business will produce a certain level of achievement. There are two job motivation process theory, that is from Fromm and Porter Lawler. Fromm theory. Fromm describes the relationship between individuals and organizational success. If substandard work performance, second degree result, or worker can see the consequence of first level to get the result of the second level. The implication of Fromm theory for organizational life is each individual have a variety of combination of valence, instrumental, and expectancy. Meanwhile, the Porter-Lawler theory that satisfaction can someone's work achievement, and dissatisfaction will damage someone's performance. And next is linkage to motivation and satisfaction performance. Motivation is one of the most important parts in improving people's performance. It can be said that motivation is an impulse from within an individual and can be influenced by the surrounding environment. Without motivation, productivity is difficult to achieve because motivation is the most important factor to change the destiny of individuals and institutions. And the second is motivation basically refers to encouragement and effort to satisfy a need or goal. Satisfaction will refer to a pleasant experience when fulfilling a need. The relationship between motivation and job satisfaction is an encouragement arising from individual teacher to achieve result, namely carrying out work, so that this result provides satisfaction. And the third is motivation as a process involves the psychological condition of the teacher, much influenced by various factors including the personal characteristic of the individual teacher, the level and the type of the task that must be done, and the work environment. The need for an expected job is a concept that provides the basis and at the same time direction for the formation of motivation in doing strong work. Unfulfilled needs cause people to find ways to reduce tension, so there is behavior that leads to the achievement of goals.
Hello guys, I'm Alifah. Okay, let's continue our material motivation in improving performance and productivity. First, we must know the definitions about performance, or maybe some people called it by work performance. Work performance is how well an individual performs a job, role, task, or responsibility. We have known that performance of everybody is maybe different. There are some factors can influence the performance of someone. One of them is motivation. So, how motivation affects the performance? Nah, according to Gagne, Farida, Alice, and Mr. emphasize that employee work motivation is an important thing that must be considered by company managers, because work motivation can provide a large and terrible influence in improving performance the employee. In general, high performance is associated with high motivation. Conversely, low motivation is associated with low performance. A person's performance is sometimes not related to their competence, because there are factors of self and work environment that affect performance. The level of work motivation between individuals with one another is not the same. Like I have talked in the previous, it is because the factors that influence it also varies, and in this case, a manager is required to be able to identify factors that can affect employee work motivations, such as safe working conditions, meaningful involvement in the organizations, sincere appreciation by managers, management culture that inspires trust and loyalty, challenging work, and cross-departmental cooperation and training. This is stated by Sukiman and Billy in 2013. I already say that many factors can influence the achievement of performance. Nah, according to Davis, in Mangkunegara, factors that influence the achievement of performance are the ability factor and motivation factor. First, we will talk about ability factor. Psychologically, abilities consist of potential abilities or IQ and reality abilities, maybe knowledge and skills. Leaders and employees must have adequate education for their positions and skills in doing daily work. It will be easier to achieve maximum performance. And the second factor is motivation. Nah, motivation is defined as an attitude held by leaders and employees towards the work situation within their organizations. Employees will show a positive or negative value to the work situation, and all of that can show how high and low motivation possessed by the leadership and employees. Next is the factors that influence the achievement of performance, but this is according to Shimamura in 1995. Nah, Shimamura states that performance is influenced by three factors: individual factors, psychological factors, and the last is organizational factors. The individual factors that can influence the achievement of performance are ability and expertise, background, and demographics. We already know that, of course, each people has their ability, expertise, background, and demographics that will be maybe different each person. So all of that can influence their performance. And the second is psychological factors. There are perceptions, attitude, learning, and motivation. And the last is organizational factors. The organizational factors include resource, leadership, appreciation, structure, and job design. The next is indicators of employee performance. According to Wijaya and Andriani in 2015, indicators in an employee's performance include the quantity of work, which consists of several indicators that work according to ability and expertise, and increase work productivity. The next is the quality of work consists of indicators of improving work performance and the use of facilities to support work. And then independence with indicators of ability to work independently and employee commitment. Next, initiatives consisting of independence, flexibility, initiative, responsibility, and adaptation to change. Next, adaptability, which consists of the ability to adapt to the work environment. Next, cooperation, consisting of cooperation with other parties or stakeholders. The next is performance measurement. Why performance should be measured? Each company, of course, has their employee. So to make the company is better and good, so the company must measure their employees' performance. Nah, good performance can be influenced by ability and motivation, because abilities without motivation or motivation without ability, both of them cannot produce high output. To clarify this expression, McAfee and Poffenberger in 1982 described mathematically, namely, the equation of ability times by motivations equal to job performance. What this means? Based on these formulas, it can be said that performance is the result of multiplication between ability and motivation. Ability is the result of a combination of education, training, and experience, while the notion of motivation is defined as a driving force that causes people to do something. We go to the next, productivity. What is the productivity? Productivity is a measure of the efficiency of a person, machine, factory, or a system in converting inputs into useful outputs. Next. Nah, other definition of productivity by experts. First, productivity is the comparison between the work in the form of goods or service with the source of energy used in a production process. This definition is by Liang Ji in 1988. The next definition about productivity. Productivity is the ratio between output and input. If productivity rises, this is only possible by an increase in efficiency and work systems, production techniques, and an increase in the skills of the workforce. This definition is by Hasibuan in 2003. The third is productivity is a measure of performance including effectiveness and efficiency. Effectiveness refers to the ability to achieve goals, while efficiency means there is the ability to achieve these goals using minimum resource and obtaining maximum output. By Robbins in 1988. Next, productivity is a concept that describes the relationship between them, the number of goods and services produced, and the source, the amount of labor, capital, land, energy, and etc. used to produce results. By Nasution in 2016. Next, so what the aspects of productivity? First, work motivation. Second, work efficiency and effectiveness. Third, work ability. And fourth, experiences and knowledge. Next, the source of work productivity. First is the use of mind, the use of room, the use of time, the use of physics, and the last is the use of materials and money. The principles of work productivity. Nah, the first principle is if the input decreases, the output remains constant, so productivity increases. Next, when input decreases, output increases, so productivity increases. Third, if the input is fixed, output increases. Next, so productivity increases. Fourth, when input increases, output increases where the amount of output increase is greater than input increase. So this condition we say that the productivity is increases too. And the last, if the input is decreases, the output decreases where the amount of output decreases is less than the input decreases. This condition also mark that productivity is increases. The next is productivity measurements. Same like the performance in previous, the productivity must be measured too. Nah, productivity measurement can be done with three types of approaches. The first is comparison between the implementation of the present work and the historical implementation, which doesn't indicate whether the implementation of the present work is satisfactory, but only explains the increase or decrease in level. Second, comparison between the implementation of one unit, maybe individual, task, section, and process, with another which shows that the relative achievements. And the third is comparison between the current implementation and the target set. And this is considered the best focus of work productivity attention by Sinungan in 1995. Nah, according to Klingner and Nanbaldiam, and quoted by Gomez in 1995, states that productivity is multiplication function between the effort of employees that are supported by high motivation or motivation with the ability or ability of employees obtained through training. Increased productivity means there is an increase in work performance, which in turn will be a feedback for business or employee motivation at a later stage. The 1983 National Productivity Council published in the Productivity and Management of Edits, J. Rivanto proposed a way to measure productivity. Work productivity can be described as follows. The labor productivity equals to actual results divided by total actual work days. Nah, the actual results are actual result per specific period, and the total actual working days is the result of multiplying the number of employees in a given period and the active working days in the relevant period. This is by Hasibuan in 1996. The next is indicators of work productivity. According to Ranvel, the key characteristic of a productive employee profile includes: first, more than just fulfilling job qualifications, highly motivated, has a work orientation, mature, and the last is can get along efficiently. So, what's factors that determine work productivity? There are two factors, the internal factors and the external factors. The internals includes education and training, motivations and job satisfaction, commitments and work ethic. And the external is income level, family, facilities available, work climate, relationship between people, and leadership. Then, how motivation affects the productivity? One important factor that affects work productivity for an employee is motivation. Work motivation is something that can cause enthusiasm and drive to work. Motivation can be sourced internally or externally. It's same by the previous. External motivation can be sourced from the organization. Therefore, it is the duty of a manager to create a work environment that can lead to a motivation. Work productivity is influenced by motivation. Individuals who have high motivation tend to be more productive than individuals who have low motivation. In the era of globalization, which is full of intense competition, every organization should improve and increase its work productivity. With high productivity, organizational competitiveness is expected to be better, and the benefits to be gained will increase. That's all. Thank you. Maybe do you have any questions?